Everyone wishes they had an Uncle Iroh in their life, someone who offers wisdom when you need it, laughter when you're down, and the perfect cup of tea no matter the situation. But here's the real secret. While we all want an Iroh, deep down we also want to be Iroh. Think about it. When you're young, you relate to Aang's boundless energy, Zuko's struggles, or even Sokka's sarcasm. But as you get older, something changes. You start valuing peace over pride, wisdom over impulse, and kindness over control. You realize that the ultimate goal isn't to be the strongest in the room, it's to be the one who makes others stronger. Uncle Iroh isn't just the mentor we all wish we had, he's the future we secretly hope to become, too. A person who has faced failure, loss, and regret, yet carries himself with humor, warmth, and wisdom. So, what can we learn from the Dragon of the West? And more importantly, how can we take his wisdom and make it our own? It's not in the lessons everyone else has already covered on YouTube. It's about the lessons they haven't talked about yet, starting with the first lesson.
In the darkest times, hope is something you give yourself. That is the meaning of inner strength.
There's something terrifying about losing hope. When everything goes wrong, when you feel trapped, when the weight of failure or regret is too much. It's easy to believe that hope is something external, that it's something given to you, like a lucky break, a perfect opportunity, or a hand reaching out at the last second. But Iroh knew better. Hope isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. And that's exactly what he does when he's thrown into prison. After years of guiding Zuko, protecting him, and trying to steer him towards the right path, he suddenly finds himself alone, betrayed, locked away, and at his lowest point. It would have been easy to give up, to surrender, to let despair win, but Iroh doesn't. Instead of breaking down, he builds himself up, literally. He trains, he gets them gains, and he gets stronger, and prepares for his moment to rise again. And when that moment comes, he doesn't just break out of prison, he emerges as a force to be reckoned with, proving that even in complete isolation, even in the darkest moments, he never let go of hope. Because hope isn't given, it's a decision. Think about the times in your own life when things felt impossible. Maybe you lost a job, failed at something you cared about, or had someone turn their back on you. In those moments, it's tempting to believe that hope will return when things get better. But Iroh reminds us that it works the other way around. Things only get better because we choose hope first. Even if it's small, even if it's just one step forward. And that's what inner strength really is. Not brute force, not the ability to overpower others, but the quiet, unshakable belief that no matter how dark things get, you can still create your own light. Speaking about light,
have light and peace inside of you. If you let it out, you can change the world around you.
most people spend their lives searching for something to make them whole. Success, recognition, power, or even just a sense of belonging. Zuko was no different. He believed that his honor, his place in the world, was something external, something he had to reclaim, something that had to be given back to him by his father. But Iroh, he saw the truth from the beginning. Everything Zuko was looking for was already inside of him. And the same is true for you. No one is born broken. No one is missing a piece of themselves that can only be filled by approval, money, or power. The real battle isn't about finding something out there, it's about realizing what's already within. Iroh understood this better than anyone. He had lived both sides of life, the ruthless general who once sought conquest, and the peaceful mentor who chose wisdom over war. He knew that true strength, true transformation, doesn't come from chasing something outside of yourself. It comes from embracing who you already are. And that's why he never forced Zuko to change. He never demanded obedience. He simply waited, patient, kind, unwavering, until Zuko was ready to see the truth for himself. And when that moment finally came, when Zuko chose to let go of the anger, the self-doubt, the belief that his worth was tied to someone else's validation, that's when he truly became powerful. Because when you finally allow yourself to be who you are, without fear, without shame, that's when you stop just surviving and start changing the world around you. We often hold ourselves back. We tell ourselves, we're not good enough, we're not ready, we're not deserving. We wait for permission to be happy, to be proud, to be at peace. But what if, like Iroh, we stopped waiting? What if we let go of the fear and simply allowed our light to shine? Maybe then, like Zuko, we'd finally realize we were never missing anything at all. But this realization is worthless without the 6th lesson of Iroh, which I'll get to later. For now, you have to trust the journey. If there's one thing humans love, it's control. We want certainty, we want guarantees, we want to know exactly where we're going and how we're going to get there. But Iroh, he knew better. Life doesn't care about your plans. It twists, it turns, it flips everything upside down when you least expect it. And the people who thrive aren't the ones who try to fight the current, they're the ones who learn to ride the waves. Just look at Zuko. From the moment he was banished, he believed his destiny was set in stone. Capture the Avatar, regain his honor, and return home as the Fire Nation's rightful prince. It was a simple, clear path. Until it wasn't. Until every victory felt hollow. Until every step forward somehow pulled him further away from what he thought he wanted. And through it all, Iroh never told him what to do. He didn't hand in the answers, he just reminded him again and again to stay open, to listen, to trust that if he followed his heart, the right path would reveal itself. And eventually it did, but not in the way Zuko ever expected. Because that's the thing about destiny, isn't it? It's never what you think it is. It's in all of our lives. How many times have you planned something only for it to go completely off the rails? How often has something you thought was a failure turn out to be a blessing in disguise? Maybe the relationship that ended made room for the one that was actually right for you. Maybe every detour, every setback, every moment that didn't go as planned was leading you exactly where you needed to be. Destiny isn't a straight road, it's not a checklist, it's a winding path full of unexpected turns. And the only way to walk it without losing yourself is to stay open to new experiences, to new people, to the possibility that life might have something even better in store for you than what you originally planned. And once you accept that, once you embrace the unknown instead of fearing it, that's when the journey truly begins. And the journey is never complete without
Sharing tea with a fascinating stranger is one of life's true delights.
Life has a way of making us believe that happiness is something grand, something we'll find once we've achieved enough, earned enough, or have become enough. Iroh knew that was different. Joy isn't in the future. It's in the small, quiet moments we often overlook. A warm cup of tea, a deep conversation with a stranger, a sunset after a long day. These things don't seem life-changing, but they are, because they remind us to slow down, to be present, to appreciate the world as it is, rather than constantly chasing something more. And Iroh lived by this philosophy. Even in exile, even in the middle of a war, even when he had every reason to be bitter or restless, he still found joy in the simplest things. He didn't just drink tea, he savored it. He didn't just talk to people, he connected with them. He found beauty in the ordinary, and doing so, he made life feel a little lighter, a little warmer. And the best part? He shared that warmth with everyone around him. Because that's the other lesson hidden in this quote: connection. The people we meet, even for just a brief moment, can leave an impact we never expected. A kind conversation with a stranger can shift our perspective. A shared laugh can turn a bad day into a good one. Life is full of these fleeting yet powerful encounters, and Iroh reminds us to embrace them. Do you ever rush through life without stopping to simply be? Completely lost in thoughts, never in the moment? Iroh teaches us that peace isn't something you find, it's something you create right here in the smallest of moments. And maybe, just maybe, if we all learned to slow down, to appreciate, and to truly connect with the people around us, life would feel a little richer, a little more fulfilling. Because at the end of the day, it's not the big achievements we remember most, it's the quiet, beautiful moments we shared with others. And there's only one way you can truly share those moments. See if you can spot the meaning of the next lesson yourself.
Pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source. True humility is the only antidote to shame.
To connect with strangers who are different and really share those beautiful moments of joy, you need to set something aside. It's not pride. Pride, at its core, is fear. The fear of looking weak, the fear of admitting mistakes, the fear of not being enough. And when that fear takes over, it doesn't make us stronger. It traps us. It forces us to pretend, to push people away, to defend a version of ourselves that isn't real. Zuko is proof of this. For much of his life, he clings to his pride. He convinces himself that if he can just capture the Avatar, if he can just prove himself to his father, then he'll be whole. But deep down, he knows the truth. He isn't chasing honor, he's running from shame. Shame for being weak, shame for failing, shame for wanting something more than what his father has told him to want. When Zuko chooses humility, when he admits his mistakes, when he lets go of the desperate need to prove himself, that's when he finally finds peace. That is lesson 5. Humility isn't about being weak. It's about being free. The only way you can be free is by putting your ego aside. How often do we do the same? How often do we let pride keep us from apologizing, from asking for help, from admitting we don't have it all figured out, letting our ego get in the way of actual meaningful connections and growth? When you let go of your pride, let go of your ego, you no longer have anything to hide. That's when real growth begins. Which leads me to the final and most important lesson.
If you look for the light, and often find it. But if you look for the dark, that is all you will ever see.
When life feels overwhelming, when things aren't going our way, it's easy to get lost in the negativity. We look for the flaws in others, the reasons things won't work, the parts of our lives that seem hopeless. And when we focus on the darkness, it seems to consume everything. Iroh reminds us that we get to choose where we place our focus. This lesson comes from a moment in The Legend of Korra when Iroh, now much older and at peace in the spirit world, speaks to Korra about the struggles she's facing. He knows the pain of loss and the weight of fear, but he also knows that what you choose to focus on shapes your world. If you search for the light, whether it's in the people you meet, in your daily experiences, or even in the smallest moments of joy, it's there to be found. It doesn't make everything perfect, but it brings balance, it gives you hope. But if you focus only on the darkness, if you allow yourself to be consumed by your fears, your frustrations, your doubts, it'll overshadow everything else. For one moment, think about your own life here. How long have you fixated on what's going wrong, on what you don't have, or on what seems impossible? In those moments, it can feel like that's all there is. But just like Iroh says, if you focus on the light, it's always there, just waiting for you to notice it. That doesn't mean ignoring the struggles, but it's learning to step away from them, even if only for a moment, and choosing where to place your energy. And in the end, what you focus on will shape your reality. If you choose to focus on the light, it'll shine through, no matter how dark things may seem. So, as you move forward in life, remember, the light is always within reach. And with that mindset, you'll be ready for the bonus challenge.
She's my sister and I should be trying to get along with her.
No, she's crazy and she needs to go down.
Alright, there wasn't really a bonus challenge. There are in fact 7 more lessons Uncle Iroh has for us. You want to know what these lessons are? Let me know down below in the comments and I'll make a part 2 of Uncle Iroh's wisdom. If you need some wisdom from a different character in the meantime, check out our other video on Jake the dog. As a final send-off, may the original voice actor of Iroh rest in peace.